these things aren't accurate. It's just the thoughts that I shouldn't listen to in my mind. I'm listening to them too hard. You know what I mean? Welcome back, my beautiful people. I'm Max. Welcome back to POV Max One. And today, on my mind is my therapist reminded me of it today. Um, the mental health triangle to save your mental sanity. That's what I'm gonna talk about today. And I'm grateful that he brought it up and reminded me of it today because what's today? Thursday. I would say the past week and throughout this whole week, I should say, besides my period things, I have been in a little mental collage state, and I've noticed that that kind of paused me in making the videos that I was making. Um, but anyway, I've had a lot of thoughts come up, some kind of triggering things come up, and I needed to pull this triangle out to remind myself that something triggered me, or that um these things aren't accurate. It's just the thoughts that I shouldn't listen to in my mind. I'm listening to them too hard. You know what I mean? And so I'm just gonna break it down real quick, get into it. But I think this triangle, when we are going through, struggles, tough times, especially battling all the thoughts, going through a mental thing going on. I really think it's important to acknowledge the thoughts, like when we're on autopilot and they're just going, and just catch yourself like, whoa, what is this thought? And just if we could just take a moment of our day and just pause and just sit down and reflect of like, okay, what are these thoughts? What emotion is it pulling up? Why are these coming up? What happened? You know what I mean? To get me here. So I'm called this triangle our mental saving sanity triangle. So this is the triangle of events, emotions, and thoughts, because all of these come into one. If you have an event that pulls out an emotion, then the thoughts are gonna. If you have an event that happens, it pulls the thoughts out, and then it gets you into an emotional state that gets you into a reactive mode. If you have a thought like, let's say, I'm no good at everything. You feel down about yourself and all that stuff. That's gonna pull the emotions out. It's gonna make you feel sad, depressed, down, lonely. And depending on how this emotion takes you, you're going to maybe binge eat, maybe not eat, maybe lay in the bed all day and watching TV. You know what I mean? You can't have one without the other. And so, using myself as an example, I've had, I'm really in a space where I'm um, acknowledging parts of certain relationships that I want to start to forgive others. I want to start loving and forgiving like how God loves and forgives us. And I'll get into that into another video, but I've been starting to pray more and read more, and it's not fair how we would plead to God and pray all the time, like, forgive me for all these sins and go do them again, or forgive me for these sins, and you can't turn around and forgive somebody that has sinned against you or has wronged you. You know what I mean? And so I am processing everything. I am praying and looking into God's word on how I can move forward with this. And something some things that have put me through financially. Let me use financially for an example for this one. Earlier this week, I am a full-time Instacarter at this current moment. And if anybody has worked Instacart, you know that you gotta go out here and work. Um, if you're not out here, if you're not out here hustling, then you're not gonna make nothing. Same thing like a 9 to 5. If you don't go to work, you're not gonna make no money. Blah blah. But anyways, this day I was out. Intentions were to work. Um, I've really been in my head lately because I'm really tired and sick of working Instacart full time. I've been doing it for this will be year 5 actually. But this day, there's something going on with my service. It turned out once I figured it out, it was just something going on in the area. I work in the same area Monday through Friday. That's why I thought I was having a phone problem, but it seemed like once I got my phone together and everything, it seemed like the area was having some kind of something going on. I have no clue. They do a lot of construction and everything out there, so I'm not surprised. And I think the weather conditions weren't that great, but I've had the thoughts of I don't like working Instacart. I don't want to work Instacart anymore. I'm really tired and drained of working it. And so it was the events of working all day Monday through Friday, being drained, being tired, driving all the time that make me have the thoughts that I don't want to work in car anymore and I want to be done doing this and X, Y, and Z. And that led to the emotions, and I was really sad. I was really down. I was in almost a depressive state. I was crying. Like, it got so bad. And that's how bad I do not want to be working this job anymore. But my point being, these events led to these thoughts, and that pulled the emotions out. Your emotions are really strong and powerful. Depending on situations, circumstances, and all that, our realities look the way they look because of our emotions. Our emotions are energy and motion, and they are the thing that really bring all of our reality, materialistic stuff together. And so, a lot goes into that, but emotions are very powerful. We have to be more aware of them, be more in control of them as well. But this has helped out a lot. Um, Realizing today that this was what was going on earlier in the week, on top of, um, I'll speak on it a little bit. Speaking on a relationship in my life that there has, or I'm going to say, seems like there has been a lot of misleading, misguiding, a lot of, and this is me taking inventory on the relationship. It seems like there has been a lot of misleading, misguiding, a lot of misery loves company kind of thing, a lot of persuasive kind of controlling, manipulative kind of thing going on. And I've been talking to my therapist about it for a while, and I'm really in a place now where I'm like, okay, I want to forgive for what has happened, and whether the intentions were intentional, true or not, pure, whatever the heck may be. I really want to be in a state of forgiving, because I just want to let go of all of this moving forward. Like, I don't want to antagonize my emotions and my hurt on all of these things that have happened. And I just want to let it go. And moving forward, seeing this person, I just want to be peace and love. When we get together, it can be, it can be a peaceful event, and then love from a distance kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so with this situation, I have all of the events playing through my head, all the situations that has happened from the past, and those brought up a lot of thoughts. Okay, before, depending on what event that I'm thinking about, it either goes into the emotions first and then the thoughts, or it goes into the thoughts and then the emotions. So I would say one event, one situation, I was being told something that wasn't accurate. Um, and it's really on a deeper level. I just don't want to get into much details because I don't want it to be like a pound out session. But I was being misled, misguided, giving wrong information, giving hurtful information, and that made me sad and angry. And from that, I went to a dungeon of thoughts and started saying, well, why is this happening? Why haven't they told me this? Why do I have to go through this? Is this really true? What's going on? They don't want me to contact this person because, you know, the situation could be really, really out there. Another situation, I would say the event of the event of knowing this person and knowing when they get you on their good side, or you're about to be on their bad side. You know the shift, feel all of this and everything. You're reading all the actions, taking inventory on everything. This event, this one, I would say a lot has happened in the past. Is that I have been I've been the one that is always called on for help, for assistance, and now I'm at a point where it's like, if I'm able to, I can help, because I got my own young family. If I'm able to, I will. If I can't, then I can't. And I would love for the other person to really hear and accept my no when I'm giving a no. You know what I mean? And not try to pick and poke at me, like, I know if I keep poking and asking and stuff, they're just gonna break down and say yes. So this event, somebody asked me if I was able to do something, and I said no, I wasn't, and it went into a guilt trip, manipulative kind of back and forth response, to where the person was able to influence me to do what they want me to do. Being in a lot of situations, being in a lot of events like that, that made my thoughts, made my mind, and it really flared up the emotion of anxiety as well. So being asked that, and being in the manipulative and guilt tripping and all that stuff, it leads to the thoughts like, how can I say no without getting, this kind of backlash? Or how can I, excuse me, like, I would have so many thoughts I can't even remember right now, but like my mind would be running with thoughts whenever I would be asked. Like, it was so bad to the point where I would ignore my phone because I didn't want to say no, or couldn't say no. And that led to the emotions of anxieties and fears of, not wanting to be fussed or cussed out at just because I said no, I can't do something. You know what I mean? And this is like so, it's just so everything. It really puts, if even if you go back on situations and look at them, it really helps out. It really clears out the clutter in your mind, or helps put emotions to ease that you've been stressing and straining about. Um, like let me go back to the Instacart thing. This day on Instacart, I only made like $32 the entire day. It's not normal. I usually make way more than that. Made $32, and that led to the emotions of feeling bad, feeling down, because I'm like, man, I gotta get stuff. We got bills to pay. I can't be lacking like this. And then that led to the thoughts like, I don't even want to do Instacart anyway. I'm out here doing my best. I'm trying. And then just the negative deep thoughts, those negative ones that be in the back of your mind, just waiting for that one prompt to come up, that one event, that one emotion to come up, and it's like boom. You know what I mean? I had one of those, and this weekend it left me in a down emotional state. And I'm glad that my therapist reminded me today that I need to take a step back, need to look, need to take a pause, take a breather. When we're in the moment of these things, of these emotions, it's really challenging to see them in the moment. But once we cool off, calm down, take a step back, and actually look and reflect, it's like, man, these events happen and made me feel this emotion, but this wasn't even what the event was about, and it pulled out a false emotion that I didn't have to feel that way all week. I didn't have to feel that week, that day. I didn't have to feel that way that day. um or even the thoughts happening, like for example, some people may think like, man, I feel like a bad mother. I didn't do this for my child, or I wasn't there for them like this week. And then that would lead to an event where maybe your baby was throwing a tantrum, or the baby might have said like, I don't like you like this, or something like that, or mommy's mean. And then that'll pull out the sadness emotion and depress, and you're just sitting there beating yourself up, you know what I mean? But it wasn't even like that to begin with. It was a thought that we shouldn't have listened to in our mind. And so that's what I'm really practicing. um I think I had a good idea. It'll be good if by the end of your day, or say something happens in the beginning or the middle of your day, have your lunch break, you actually sit and reflect in your mind. Pull out pen and paper, or pull your phone out, draw a little triangle on your phone. Okay, what happened? Write the event down. What happened? Say you're at work and a customer cussed you out. Okay, customer cussed you out. How'd that make you feel? That made me feel mad and irritated. Okay, what thoughts were you having after that? Man, I had to beat this customer up, or if I wasn't working here, I would have gave that customer my 2 cents, and do and blah blah blah. Okay, so let's go back to the event. Why was the customer cussing you out? Because they didn't have this item in the store. Is that your fault? No. No, you didn't deserve to get cussed out, but it happened, unfortunately, and you don't deserve that. So let's cool that emotion down. That event had nothing to do with you. You didn't intentionally or maliciously hurt anybody, harm anybody, or anything. Somebody is having a bad day, and they put their bad day out on you. It happens. We have to give people grace. That's also what I'm learning is with this situation, like forgiving and also giving grace, because we're all human at the end of the day. We all have emotions, go through things. Like, we all go through things. It may not be the same, or we may be able to relate and all that stuff, but it is what it is. And we just got to give grace to others that aren't really aware, or you know, aware of what they're doing and saying. Like, and this is not at all like, we're not excusing people's actions whatsoever. We're not doing that. Whatever the action was that was hurtful, harmful, like physically, mentally, emotionally, any kind of way, that is not excused whatsoever, period. But just sitting back, reflecting, acknowledging, being more aware of these things, you know what I mean? It really, really helps out a lot. It really does. And it really does. And that's pretty much it. Even by the end of your day, if you can just, get home, pour you a little nice glass of wine, get you in a little bubble bath or something, and really decompress and like, okay, let me think. Let me pull this triangle out to ease my mental and to ease the not so good mental thoughts and emotions that I'm feeling. And I think it'll really turn our day around. It really will. So I'm going to be putting this into practice. Oh, you putting it into practice too, because we are doing our best to change our lives. And the first step in doing that is being more aware of ourselves, being more aware of our mentality, and being more aware of the people around us. We can really unlock something powerful once we know our mind, understand our mind, and start putting these things into practice. There's a lot of people that I know, a good bit of people, like, they have so much knowledge in their mind, but they're not putting it into practice. We're not actually putting in the work to actually see the differences and changes. That's like somebody saying, "Oh, I want to lose weight," but they're over eating pot pies and McDonald's and think working out is just gonna get them the results, and it's not. It's not. So we really got to work on putting things into practice. That's what I'm doing. That's what I hope that you can start doing. And I'm excited to really change my mind. Really be an influence to y'all to, start being more aware of yourself, start being more aware of your minds, and just starting there, you know what I mean? And shoot, we can do anything with God by our side as well. So let's get it. I'm excited. Thank you for coming to my little Max talk. It was good. It was good. But thank you for chiming in. Thank you for getting to the end of my video. And I'll see you in the next one.